Yeah, coming off the farm. Anyway, we are live. I think we are. Can somebody
We
tell
are
me?
live.
We are live.
Yeah,
Where's Jackie?
Jackie
Here's
is
Johnny.
Welcome. Here's Johnny. Let me see who we got with us here so far today. Of course, Esther, Adrian, there's Evelyn, and let me mute the other thing. I'm hearing myself talk in my ear. That's what happens when I don't mute YouTube videos before we go live. I hear YouTube videos playing in my ear, and it's me. Good to see you, Mary, David. Of course, Toyin's here. Good to see Toyin. Always a pleasure. Caroline, Ego, Jonathan, Mark, Bill, Jane, Neil, Elmer. My goodness, welcome, Star. And there's Joe. I'm sure Regina is lurking in the weeds somewhere. There's Regina. Yeah, good to see you guys. Welcome, Janet and Suzanne. We're going to have a fun conversation today. Welcome, everyone. We're going to have a fun conversation today because I just did something very astute. This is a very smart thing to do. And I did it, damn it. I did it.
Yay. What did you do, John?
Oh, thanks for asking. Thank you for asking.
Action.
Here's what I did. Okay. So I picked up a book that I've picked up before. And we're going to be initiating a book club here, by the way. So I don't know about all you Brits though, because we're going to have to do something in the evening, and you're going to be sleeping. You're going to have to catch the replay. The Aussies are going to love it. They're going to be like, "Oh my goodness, this is perfect. It's not 11 o'clock in the morning." Okay, but I picked up this book, which I've referred to many times, and wouldn't you know it? I opened it exactly to the page that I needed to read today. I need reminders all the time. How about you guys? Jane's here. Hey, Jane. Hey. I need reminders all the time. Jane's like, what? Talking to me?
Yes, it's you, Jane.
But I need reminders all the time. And haven't we all had the experience, certainly here in this group, it's been, reported many times, like, oh my goodness, exactly what we talked about today is exactly what I'm dealing with, right? How serendipitous, how synchronistic, how whatever. And so I opened up this book. The title of the book is The Science of Getting Rich, which I've referred to many times. It's 110 years old. It was written in 1910 by a guy named Wallace D. Wattles. You could find a picture of this guy. He was kind of like this tall, lanky guy with this long face and big beak of a nose. That's the guy, right? He has a face for radio, so to speak. And, of course, this was prior to radios, but yeah. But I opened up to the book or to the chapter on efficiency. And he was talking about advancing in life, and doing so, the only way to do so is by outgrowing your current position, by outperforming, by executing your current post. I'll use modern parlance, okay? So if I know my post, right? Here's my job, here's what I do, right? And I do that to the point where I've outproduced it, then I must advance in life. In contrast, he said, if you look at evolution, right, you could see how a new species could be created in the same way, where now it's evolved beyond its own, abilities in the, living in the mud or something, right? And now it's a bird, or I don't know, as far as like how this takes millions of years, of course, but how new species originated. And I guess we can get into biology and all that, but he was citing that sort of a thing where this organism became better, stronger, faster, and now it's classified as a new organism, a new species. Same kind of thing here. But in contrast, here are the loafers of life. Here are the people who are a drain on society. They don't advance the society, and they don't advance themselves. They actually retard advancement, and at great cost, society would carry them. Okay, he said this is what you want to be careful of. But he said and I'm paraphrasing now, but he said, if every action you take is an efficient one, in other words, infused with the power and the intent, right, and the certainty. This is the same guy who talked about the certain way we do things, the certain way. But if every action that we do is an efficient one, in other words, it's one that's done with certainty. What is certainty? It's the absence of doubt. It's acting as if it were impossible to fail. If every action we do is an efficient one, then we must get rich. It has to work, always works, always, always, always. If every action we take, or the majority of actions we take, are inefficient ones. In other words, they're lackluster. They're not in excess of our post, right? They're not us deliberately evolving or outgrowing our current position in life. Then we are destined to fail. It always, always, always works. You will fail. So then the question is, how many of your actions are done in the certain way, the way of no doubt, the way of definiteness of purpose, the way in which you put your power into it, not looking sideways, not, oh, but what if? No. Okay. You're in command of your post, right? And then you will outgrow that post. Many of you have seen this happen in your own life recently. Am I right or am I right? I mean, you've got people here who have said, oh my goodness, I was expecting to accomplish this, but look at all these other doors just opened up for me. How does that happen? Is that magic? Is that a mistake? Is that the whimsical, capricious will of the cosmos, bequeathing or not unto you benefits? No. He said we can reduce this to an exact science. So to the degree that you're engaged in efficient, is the word he used, action, to that degree, you're going to outgrow your current station in life and evolve into higher opportunities, higher degrees of expression and service to society, right? Benefits that you deliver. What do we know about current, right? Currency, right? Tide goes out, tide comes in. Well, if more tide is going out, if more benefits are outflowing, well, more current is inflowing. Currency, current, right? The flow of life. So we're just making a bigger machine, so to speak, right? And we're it, right? We're in control. So the machine of sending out the tide, sending out the benefits, putting the water out into the ocean, right? That same machine must reciprocate with more water coming in. I like the example of the tide because it's so objective, right? I mean, there's no argument about it, right? The tide goes up, the tide goes down, in, out, flow, rhythm, right? Here we go. There's actually in various philosophies, there's something called the law of rhythm, that everything has a rhythm in life, right? In fact, I've done some kind of heavy duty reading on this where for those of us who are into, quieting the mind and transcending a bit, all the rhythm of it all, you can actually kind of be above it and see, the ebb and flow, the pendulum, if you will. Okay. Oh, I'm observing now. I'm observing the game. The tide just went out, right? The tide is coming in, right? Or in the case of, let's say, wealth creation, right? Success, prosperity. Maybe you've experienced lean times, right? I certainly have at various times in my life, lean times. Okay. Are we in the water with the tide flowing out? Oftentimes we feel that way. Oftentimes, I could speak for myself, I have felt like I'm being carried out to sea by the current and it's not pleasing. And I'm in the riptide or the whatever it's called, right? The undertow, and I want control. I want control of my life. But as long as I'm in the water, so to speak, as long as I'm immersed in my circumstances, then I am the effect. I'm not cause, right? But what if we could just stop, transcend that a bit, and take a look objectively and say, oh, the tide just went out. What do I know has to happen? It has to come in. Has to. The law of rhythm. It has to. Now, when the tide's coming in, here's the other question. Do you rest on your laurels? Is that an efficient action? Is that efficient? Oh, yeah. Now you've mastered your post. The tide is coming in. Look at this increase, this abundance, this advancement. Okay. Do you rest on your laurels? You would still be assigning effect to yourself. No, we maximize, we outgrow that post. I've seen many times in my life and in the lives of people I've counseled where they finally had a breakthrough. They reached their goal, right? They've wanted this goal forever, man. Oh, I just want that. If I can only have that, they finally got it. They finally got it. Two interesting things can often come of that. One is that they feel like it's deja vu. It's not like, oh, I just won the lottery. Hooray. I finally made $20,000 in a month or whatever the target was. Okay. So it's not like jumping up and down. Oh, I can't believe it. I finally won. Like the Publishers Clearinghouse guy. I don't know if you got that in other countries, but here in the United States, right, there's commercials where, grandma opens the front door and it's the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes guy. And she won the $1 million in the Lamborghini. Oh, I can't believe it. I've never won. No, that's not the experience. The experience when we reach a goal that we've with earnest intent been focusing on, the experience is of course I just did. Of course I just made the $20,000. I mean, what else would I be doing here? Right? Deja vu. Right? Yes, thank you. I'm glad. Okay. But damn it, I did the work. I earned that. Right? Good. And I'm glad things are working for me now. So that's the first thing. Is it's a bit less of an experience of elation. It's more of an experience of expectation fulfilled because we get what we expect, whether we know it or like it or not. Okay. Which includes the downward spiral of thinking that you're being swept out by the tide and you have no control. You get more of that, right? You want to be the effect? You get to be the effect, right? The world will make you an effect very easily. It's very seductive. Okay. But to reclaim cause, right? So here comes the goal. Here comes the wish fulfilled, the fruits of your intent, your labor, your effort, your focus, right? The fruits. So no, we're not elated, but here's the other thing that is a quite common phenomenon. And I will speak for myself because this has happened to me, where I've allowed myself to be the effect of my own success. Here's what it looks like. Oh man, I'm glad I got it. That's great. Of course I got it. Yeah, man, I rock. I'm friggin' awesome. Let's go fishing. Let's go do something else, right? Because now I've just reached my standard. I set this higher standard and I just reached that standard. That's very pleasing. But what do we know about life? The law of rhythm in this case. What happened now that the tide came in? It's got to go out. Okay. But here's the question. Am I awake enough to cause a bigger tidal wave, right? Play a bigger game, to outgrow my post and to say, you know what? That was great. Here's the new goal. This is how you do it, by the way. It's not that hard. Okay. But you've got to conceive of a higher goal. Nothing rests. You're either creating or disintegrating. And as soon as we get stasis, like you're comfortable, oh boy, that's rough. That's a tough spot to be in. You're comfortable, huh? Oh my goodness. Send out the group of people to intervene, right? Because you're in trouble. All right. One of the other laws is the perpetual transmutation of radiant energy, which means that nothing rests. All energy is moving from this form into that form, and we're not creating anything really. It's just different combinations. Okay. Well, knowing that nothing rests, you damn well better have the next goal lined up. So my suggestion for everyone here, I'm going to go ahead and mute the mic. We got a little bit of background noise. So my suggestion, and this is for me too. Okay. So John, listen, thank you. I'm listening. Okay. So my suggestion is to consider your goal, your current goal, right? Which hopefully everyone has, right? We're targeting something. We got some sort of a target. We know what we're shooting at. Great. I want you to consider who achieves that goal. Who, meaning you, like who is the person who achieves that goal, and what conversations will you be having with people who are already in your life, right? Your spouse, your children, your coworkers, whatever. What conversations will you be having with those people who already exist in your life once you've achieved that goal? Go visualize the conversations you will have with those people, the interactions you'll have in daily, the modern course of, daily life or whatever, casual relationships and what have you. Picture yourself as having already accomplished that. And then the big question, now that you are seeing the reality of that, you're experiencing the experience, the relationships, all the little details you can about having already achieved that goal. What goal are you setting now? What goal are you setting now? Now, meaning right now, because you already accomplished the one that you're really working on right now, but we're just advancing the videotape. That's all we're doing here. With full expectation. Remember, we get what we expect. I expect that this goal is a done deal. That's a guaranteed future outcome. I damn well better know what's next. So start thinking about that now. Okay. So you're hanging out with your friends. You've already achieved the goal, whatever the goal happens to be. What's your next goal? And so when we start thinking from the end, not thinking of the end, oh, it'll be so nice then, in the future, which doesn't exist, right? It'll be so nice then once I've achieved that goal. No, right now, as the person who achieves that goal, guaranteed, what's your next goal? What can you do better, stronger, faster? How can you provide more service? How can you increase that tidal wave that's going out so that the bigger one comes in? And by the way, this isn't a selfish thing. This is just working with the law. That's it. You're either causing or you're the effect. Cause, effect, choose. And I can tell you, it's a whole lot more fun to be cause. It's also a ton of work. I mean, right here, the work is right here. This isn't easy. Oh my goodness, this isn't easy. Right? It's easy to rest on your laurels. It's easy to be a victim. It's easy to say that you're the effect of all the tides of life swept upon the waves, and we can write poems and it's all very miserable. And man, we got to wake up. I got all that from Wallace Wattles telling me to do things efficiently more often than I do them inefficiently. In other words, be cause, put my power, put my intent, put my certainty into this. Yes, act in the certain way. And then you have to get rich, have to. But then don't forget, because you don't got no guarantee, right? You don't get to ride on your laurels, right? By the way, laurels are those crowns that the ancient Romans would make out of the laurel. That's where that phrase comes from. Rest on your laurels. So you were granted, you're the victorious general. Here are your laurels. They would put the fig leaf. So I guess it's an actual laurel, like a bay leaf or olive branch, right? Anyway, so that's what laurels means. I'm done talking, guys. I'm inspired. I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by this group. And I think, yes, we're doing efficient action right now. One reminder can completely change my day. And I hope you get at least one each day here with us. I'm really excited about where we're going with this group. The floor is open. We're going to go to Susan in SoCal and then Evelyn Melendez. Hey, Susan in SoCal. What's going on with you?
Hi, John. Good morning. How are you?
I am on fire.
Yeah, I love the topic today. And, this goes along with, I was listening to Bob Proctor, one of his, it was like one after another last night. That's why I'm so tired, because I listened to him and he was going all night long. So I didn't have a deep sleep. But anyway, I was thinking this morning before the call of living intentionally and, putting that energy into what we want. And I was thinking about the things in my life that I really, really wanted, and I got them, but what was my mindset at the time? So I'm going to share something really personal with you. I didn't get married until I was 40. I forgot I was getting older. I was having so much fun with my career. My ex-husband, he's the ex-husband now, but he had to remind me of my time clock, but I really forgot. My family lives to be older than dirt. So I thought, well, I can live a long time. My eggs will live a long time too. So anyway, we got married and we didn't have much time to burn. So we started to have a child right away. I got pregnant right away, and then I had a miscarriage, and I wanted to be a mom in the worst way. So I think back of what I did after that first miscarriage. I bought bulk pregnancy tests, because any woman that's had a miscarriage, you buy a bunch of pregnancy tests. Anyway, and so I bought in bulk pregnancy tests, and I was determined I was going to get pregnant. So after this miscarriage, usually they tell you to wait a few cycles. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. If God wants me to have a child, I'll just get pregnant, right? So I didn't wait. I was pregnant within about 7 days again. And I went back to the doctor. And the doctor said, Susan, I'm really sorry. He said, any test that's showing up positive is just because you still have the hormone in your blood still. And I said, no, doctor, I know my body. I know I'm pregnant. And so they did the test. It was negative. And I kind of argued with my doctor. I said, I know my body. I know I'm pregnant. They ran it again. And the nurse came back and she said, doctor, she's pregnant. That turned into my boy that's 14 today. And so anyway, but my mindset back then was like, I was so determined. I put so much energy forth. I bought every book known to man on pregnancy and all of that. And I was just my mindset was so geared up to get that outcome that I wanted. And that was the same in every other thing that I've done in my life, and that mindset, that intention, that energy that you put forward. So anyway, kind of getting personal here, but that was one thing that I really, really wanted in life. And because of that mindset and that intention and that energy that I put forth, I got it. And that's the same with everything else in my life. So anyway, I've been really thinking about that. So your call this morning and what you're talking about just goes along with, everything that I was listening to last night. So anyway, thank you. Great subject.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Susan. And Bob, you're listening to Bob. Bob just
I-
keeps on trucking. That guy, he doesn't have an off switch. Yeah.
He's in.
Good stuff.
Thank
Where's
you.
Evelyn Melendez?
I am here.
There she is.
Just wanted to say hi and pop in. I know that I have been very quiet since you came to this group and or guided us, I would say, to this group. But we are chugging along. We have to take action. And like I've been telling some of our newfound friends from all over the world, chop, chop, come on, it's time to go. We can have the right mindset. We're getting that with you, but don't get stuck in the other part of the business, overthinking. Focus, get the product selection, and chop, chop, let's get it done. So that's going to be a new one. Come on.
That sounds like good advice right there. Is that Javier?
That's Javier.
There he is, legend, Javier.
Yes.
Hi, John.
Glad you're here. And good advice, Evelyn. When's the best time to get started? Or here's a better question. When would now be a good time to get started?
Just right now.
Yeah. When would now be a good time? Let's go to Wayne and then Adrian and then I go. Hey, Wayne. Here's Wayne.
Good morning.
There he is.
So just can you hear me?
Yes.
You got me there? Sorry, my internet's been struggling a bit today, so I'm going to turn my video off just to make sure that.
Okay. Yeah, I think we got
I don't
a
drop
slight
out here,
delay,
so.
but we can hear you just fine.
Okay, great. So no, John, you were just talking about efficiency and Wallace Wattles there. I'd finished the books that you had recommended early on there in our program that we'd started a while back, and was looking for my next one to read. So lots of names, Bob Proctor and Napoleon Hill and so on, and what was I going to do? But you've spoken about Wallace Wattles a lot, so I thought I'll have a look at this little book. And it's not a big book, but I have to say that is a brilliant piece of work, a work of genius. There's some amazing stuff in there, and it's given me some new perspectives, even above some of the other books that I've read, and just the way that he relates things together, and just that certain purpose and so on. And I don't know, I can't say enough about it. So if others haven't yet read The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, highly recommend it. I've been finding it quite amazing, and a great encouragement there. So just as far as efficiency goes, I just spent some time in my life working as a carpenter, and one of the things that they teach you there is just how to organize things and make things work more quickly. So a good example is when you're doing flooring, about even just when you lay the boxes out ready to go, you lay the stacks of wood out where to go, that you make sure that everything's in the right order, and then you can just pull everything straight in and attach it. There's no spinning required. There's no flipping things around. There's no extra work needed. Everything is just one thing after the other. So efficiency is super important. And, as far as even what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, whether it's, whatever business we're in or whatever, it's trying to have systems in place to make everything as efficient as possible. Certainly been finding that's been helping me as well. So I appreciate the chat there this morning and everything that we've learned.
I appreciate you, Wayne. Thank you. And I just put a link to the book. It's long out of copyright. So here's a free copy. It's in the chat. If anyone does not have a copy of SGR, now you do. All right, let's go to Adrian Garner and then Ego. Hey, Adrian.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Very good.
Yes, everything you said and what Susan said and what Wayne has just said, it reminded me that we have to focus on the fact we are an individual marketplace. And that's one of the best things I read in one of the books I read, that you have to envisage yourself standing behind a stall in a marketplace, selling either your service or your product, and then try and envisage why people are going to come to you. So in terms of outgrowing your role, outperforming, what you said yesterday about surprising people with offering more, it all comes back to standing behind that stall and trying to sell something to somebody they really need or they really want, and doing it the best way you can with passion and inspiration. Otherwise, why should they come to your stall rather than the next person? So it just reminded me of that. That was my thought.
Thank you, Adrienne. Yeah, and I know you've been a student of this sort of personal development and psychology for some years. So, but I need reminders all the time, right? I forget. So it's interesting, isn't that? I got a near photographic memory, and yet, all right, are we applying that in our lives? John, are you applying that in your life? Great question. Thanks for asking. That's why I say integrity is everything. Look, here's the theory. So what? So what? You got theory. Hooray for you, right?
Well, you get distracted and you lose focus on these things. I mean, people now, some people don't realize, for example, when they go for a job, they're selling a service. They're an individual marketplace, and they're trying to convince someone to buy their product. They're buying you. They're buying you whether you've sourced that product. They're buying you whether you've designed that website. They're buying you whether you've written that piece of work, that ebook. That's what they're doing. And it has to be compelling. It has to be something they really want. Otherwise, none of us are going to make it as sellers.
Fantastic. Thank you, Adrienne. Great reminders there. And let's go back to the UK. We got Ego, and I see the other Adrian who doesn't have his hand up, but his mic is unmuted. So go ahead, Ego, and then we'll see.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
To see you. So today's topic is really apt for me because during the day, I was kind of thinking about how do I replace negative with positive, right? So generally in life, when we go through challenges, it's so easy to focus on what we've lost. And I know that's human, right? So you talked about, Adrian talked about efficiency and, for me, and you talked about that as well. That really drives focus. Then there's certainty of action, right? So if we think about what we've lost or focus on what we've lost, and I was saying to myself, in life, you lose so much. It could be a body part. It could be a loved one. It could be a thing. I really resonate with Susan as well. She lost a baby, but she gained energy, intention, boldness, and confidence, right? So I just kind of saying to myself, it's human nature to lose something or someone, a friend, a job, a loved one. But when we replace in losing, we gain so much in the process, right? So I lost my hair. I had a head full of hair. But what did I gain as a result? You go from, I remember the very first time I joined one of your calls, the very first time, someone mistook me for a guy, and no offense, I wasn't actually offended. I didn't wear earrings. I had no jewelry on. I was completely bald, right? And it's an easy mistake to make. But then I thought to myself, what did I gain by losing something that's so obvious? I'm a confident person anyway, but I believe I actually gained inner self-confidence, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I wouldn't be talking about, challenges. I wouldn't be bold enough to, open up to so many people I've never met. I've made new friends. What have I gained through that process? I've gained new friends, a network of people who can help me grow and go as well, right? So it's not about, like you said, it's not about, staying where you are. You have to outgrow your post. So I believe that in losing something, you do gain. It may not seem like it. You lose a loved one. You don't see the end. You don't see what's coming. But I can safely say that in losing so much, you gain so much more.
Wow. You know what you just reminded me of, Ego? The story of the samurai, the Japanese samurai. These were the protectors of the village, right? And they were like brutal warriors, but their operating principle was that their life is already forfeit. So they're like grateful for the ability to serve, because they've already sacrificed their life, so to speak, for the cause of being the samurai. And I thought, man, that's a heavy trip. But I think you just corroborated that. It's kind of like, look, in the loss of, let's say, loss of attachment to things of, a temporal nature, right? We can gain a bit more conviction, right? And willingness to reach, right? We talk about certainty, right? And doing things in a certain way, which makes it efficient. I had a friend who was relaying a story to me about when he was a youth, and he was trying to change a tire, and he was not mechanically inclined, no training or whatever, but he had to change a wheel on a car. And so he got the tire iron, the wrench, and he was trying to push it one way, and it wouldn't move. The lug nut wouldn't move. Okay. And so he tried going the other way, and it wouldn't move. And he went into his uncle or whoever the adult was and said, hey, I don't know, which way do I turn the nut? And the adult said, righty tighty, lefty loosey. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay. He went out there and he turned it left, and bam, broke that nut right off. Definiteness, certainty, efficiency, right? So in a state of indecision, is it right? Is it left? Man, kind of a mamby-pamby effort. Right? That's the result. Okay. Yeah. But now we know righty tighty, lefty loosey. Oh, well, step right up, sir. Right? There's the action. Definiteness, efficiency. Holy crap, guys, what a conversation today. Sign me up, damn it. Love you, Ego. You are awesome. Where's Ivy? Let's talk to Ivy.
Hello, everybody. Hi, John. Thank you. I was just listening to Ego and Susan, and I was thinking of possibly two instances in recent past, actually, of things that I maybe have lost. But I truly believe from those two experiences that whatever mess you go through ends up being part of your message, in the future. And somehow everything just works out, and you can talk from a position of strength once you come through the process. The first was I lost all my skin. Just think of, yeah, exactly. The skin is the biggest organ, of the body. So just think you stand up from a chair and all you hear is a crackling sound. And as you look on the floor, it's your skin just shedding, just literally just falling off. And, living in the UK with the kind of, winters we have, and, sometimes you don't get seriously warm days. You can imagine, with the change in weather, you get, respiratory problems. So you go from bronchitis to pneumonia. I mean, a normal cold becomes something else very quickly because, what should protect you isn't there. And so I went through possibly almost 10 years of treatment. And I was probably in hospital for about 3 to 6 months, purely because I just had no skin and I couldn't do anything. And so every half hour, I would have an orderly come to pretty much vacuum my bed and vacuum around my bed because I was still shedding skin at the speed of light. I'll have one nurse come to put stuff on my head or my scalp because that was a problem, but it was obviously different stuff for my scalp, different stuff for my face, and did something else for the rest of my body, and have to go through that intensive treatment. But what I coming out of that, people admire my skin today and they go, oh my God, you've got beautiful skin. And I say, careful what you wish for. I wouldn't want you to go through what I went through to get the skin I have. But what do I do now? I eat right, I exercise regularly, I treasure what I have. I just don't put any old thing on my skin. I make sure it's right for me. I don't take chances. I'm allergic to a whole ton of things. And so I'm very careful reading labels, et cetera, et cetera. But that's just taught me to appreciate the small things in life. I mean, most people wouldn't think twice about their skin, but I just take extra precaution, and then some of the meds I was on obviously affected my hair. So when my hair started growing back, I had to cut it, literally go bald, not once, not twice. But I saw that as a fashion statement. So with each passing day, I could change my look. So I could sneak into places and people wouldn't know it was me, because I'd dressed and I'd look like a boy or a man. And that was fine. So I'd go in under the radar. And other days I'd have, a wig on, and I'd go wild, different colors. I'd have spiky hair one day. I mean, it just, so it gave me opportunities to reinvent myself, so to speak. And I think the other experience was I was homeless for 7 years. And when I say homeless, I mean, all my stuff was in storage for 7 years, and I had a car. And I said, well, okay, I've got a car, so I can sleep in my car. You know, if all else fails, at least I've got that as a backup option. But in those 7 years, not one day, not one night did I have to sleep in my car. For some reason, you know, people I didn't know, absolute strangers, will say to me, "Oh, you can come to mine and sleep on my couch for a week," or, "Oh, my dad's out of town; it's his house. You can sleep in the spare room, but you know, when he comes into town, then you'd obviously have to find somewhere else to be." But that went on for 7 years. So what am I saying now? I've got a place of my own. You know, I treasure what I have. So when I got a place of my own, if I ever heard that someone was in between jobs, couldn't afford to pay rent, didn't have a place, I said, look, my place is small, but you're welcome to stay with me. Absolute strangers. Just because I worked with them or somebody at church said, oh, so-and-so is going through a hard time, I'll just say, look, I haven't got a mansion, but you can share what I have. And people who I didn't know, they were like, I can't believe that you would open the little space you have for absolute strangers. I mean, I had some bad experiences. There was some young girl who came into mine and I said to her, look, you can have the couch or you can share my bed with me. And she cleaned me out of all my jewelry. So there were, you know, there were learning experiences, but would I not do that again? No, I still would, you know, because that's who I am. And I believe that you never know what's going to come back. You never know what it is that you're giving out is going to come back to you in some way, you know, bigger and better than you ever imagined. So when I look at the opportunity that we have now and trying to grow this business, I look back on, you know, some of those things and some, you know, these two instances in my life. And I go, if I could get through those 2 times and I'm still here to tell the story, building this business, come on, how does it compare with some of the stuff I've been through? I mean, those are 2 things I can probably share, but there are other things that I've been through that I can't even begin to put into words. And so for me, it's like when I compare what, you know, my journey so far and I compare what this is like, I mean, is it opening an account? Am I going to let that stop me? Is it, you know, our calls when they ended, was I going to let that stop me? No, but here we are, you know, phase 2 of those calls. And so it's like, whatever challenge comes, I say to myself, it can only get better, because if I get through this, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be more driven. And, you know, so what you're saying today is just taking me back to actually think back, you know, on those instances and just appreciate, you know, each occasion to just rise and shine and, you know, wake up to the task, really. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Wow, what a story. Skin falling off. This is like horror movie kind of stuff. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Whew. Thank you, Ivy. Let's go to, we got Mark and Stuart and Glenn. Oh, right. We got the 3 amigos over here. Right? What's up? What's going on, Mark?
Hey, John. Ivy, what an amazing story. And
thanks, Mark.
The attitude that you convey after all of that, there are a lot of people in the world who would have just given up. So I give you a big salute for that one. Good for you. I had a bit of a personal issue that I went through. I had kind of a milestone this week, John, and I wanted to share it because I was in one of those moments that it's kind of like, you know, the alien, no one hears you, you know, no one in space hears you scream kind of thing. And that's kind of where I was at. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I've been on here for, you know, over 4 months. I'm listening to all these great things, all these stories, and helping people kind of walk through some of the hurdles and the bumps in the road. And I have to admit, there's been some times that I've just kind of let, you know, my ego has to get, well, this week I had to really stuff my ego in my back pocket and say, you know what, I really need to reach out because I've got a little hurdle here and I want to get some other input. And the reason I say it's a kind of a personal win for me is because I'm a very, you know, very individually driven guy, and to reach out and to look to others for help is not necessarily in my, you know, that's not my default switch. So I did that. And the reason I'm mentioning this is, first, I want to thank a number of people that are on the post call with me to help me through this. And to just, I think for the group here, what's invaluable is to take a moment and think about how we want to reach out. We want to get these VAs and these virtual assistants. We have an unlimited resource here in VAs, really. When you think about the background that everybody has here, you know, it's QC and it's HR and it's business development and project resources and all these different things that everybody has a capability of doing. And that's what I received in my openness to the group. And I really walked into it with a little bit of trepidation thinking, you know, and that's on me. That's my own, my ego looking at myself saying, what am I worth? Who am I? You know, why am I going to this group to do this? I'm the guy who's supposed to be out there helping. Man, I tell you, the flood of information that came back at me immediately was just, it was amazing. And I thought, wow, look to each other. This is a family. Look to one another when you have those questions and share that with each other. This is such a powerful group. And just as an aside, I have been communicating with that supplier back and forth, and I've taken your suggestions, and we are still communicating. So we're working through a negotiation process and defaulting toward or erring towards the positive and making sure there weren't issues of either miscommunication or misunderstanding. And I think by going that route and putting my ego in my back pocket and listening to the others in the group and getting a sounding board, so to speak, it really was beneficial. I can't say enough to the group. I'm just thankful that you guys helped me out.
Glad you're here.
Very big
Glad
deal.
you're here, man. I'll tell you
Thanks,
what, I
man.
get my money's worth every day.
Thank you.
Yeah. So glad you're here, my friend. This is the power of the mastermind, right? I can't see everything. So thank you guys for being a part of this. Thank you, Mark. We are at 42 past. We're going to have Stuart come out here and then Glenn, and then I think we'll wrap up unless anybody's got a burning desire. What's going on, Stuart and Leah?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Hey, good.
Awesome topic today. Great input from everybody. Ivy, I just wanted to mention to you that here in the American Southwest, the Native Americans have a concept of animal medicine, right? And you've heard probably the term eagle medicine, hawk medicine, bear medicine, things like that. Snake medicine is, snake is the creature that sheds its skin, right? And the medicine of the snake is rebirth, renewal, new beginnings, things like that. So I just wanted to add that to your comments to see if that had any relevance to you in your experience. I wanted to mention that. John, love Science Getting Rich, Thinking from the End, Impression of Increase, all these things. I've been on a Neville Goddard kick the last few weeks. I've probably read one after another of some of Goddard's works. And not only does he talk about thinking from the end and acting as if, and we all know about the law of attraction, but Goddard talks a lot about the law of assumption. And I'm sure you know about this, John, and it's the process or the concept of assuming the state that your wish has been fulfilled. You act as if you already have everything you want. And that working from the end, and then the other thing I'll say about that is that there's this emoting component that I know we all know is a part of this, right? Thinking and imagining our wish fulfilled will kind of get you so far. But if you really want to supercharge that process, then you emote, you feel it, you imagine your wish is fulfilled, and you think about how you would feel. And like you were saying, John, like what are the conversations that you would have with people, and what do you feel about that, and and the more details we can bring up in those visualizations and emotions, the more likely, in my understanding, we are to have our wish fulfilled and our desires fulfilled. I wanted to share with you guys some of my personal story about working from the end and living from the end. I crash landed here in New Mexico in my early 20s, and I'll share more stories as time goes on. But I was a city suburban kid from New York, and John, we can swap stories because we grew up not too far from each other. when I crash landed here, I was with a young lady. This is pre-Leah. So, you know, those of you that know the story, I'll kind of keep giving you bits and pieces as time goes on. But here I was, you know, crash landed in New Mexico. I found, well, first I lived in a teepee. So Ivy, you know, I was maybe not quite homeless, but I lived in a teepee for my first year out here. You know, I found this funky old A-frame that was built by a bunch of hippies in the 60s on a sheet of acid and just abandoned kind of thing. I found this old place and almost immediately became a single solo parent of a toddler. So I was 22 with an 18-month-old kid strapped to my back. And I had this vision of starting this business, this guide service, of taking people out in the wilderness with llamas, right? And you know, it lends itself to another discussion for another day about how to deal with the naysayers and the petty tyrants and things like that, and all the people that don't believe in you and try and discourage you from realizing your dreams and things like that. But I remember, man, I was 22, sitting in this funky little A-frame, no electricity, oil lamps, writing the text to a brochure that I couldn't afford to print, filling out forms for Forest Service special use permits that, you know, I knew that, you know, I had no credentials to get at the time. Filling out, you know, insurance and detailed things of what do you want to do and where are you going to take people and how are you going to do all this? And the more details I feel like I pulled this whole thing out of the ethers and threw it on the table in front of me. And this concept of realization or manifestation to me is essentially, I want to say it parallels the process of creation, right? And so when we have this idea, we conceive it, right? We have a conception process, and then while we're mulling these things over and incorporating these things in our body, to me that's sort of the gestation phase. And then when we make it real and we pull it out of the ethers, we put it on paper, whatever it is, then we're giving birth to something, right? And you know, I did all these things. Again, I was destitute, no resources, none of this kind of stuff. And when I was done through this process, I went and got trained as a first responder in wilderness medicine. And all these things fell into place. And then all of a sudden the resources were there to start my business. And to me, you know, we all have this magical ability to create our reality. And I'm really excited about this Mastermind course, class, podcast, so that we can all share stories about, you know, the things that we've done in our lives that echo all these mindset and human development or personal development and human potential topics. So I'm all about it, you guys. And I'm just really jazzed to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. You've got quite a bit of commentary in the chat roll about the various meanings of the word TP, whether we're talking about toilet paper or Native American dwellings. Right. That's right. We got Indiana Jones and his toilet paper, ladies and gentlemen. There we are. Let's wrap up with Glenn. What's going on, the mighty Glenn?
Reverend Lavinia, good morning, good afternoon. It's still morning for me here in Houston for about another 11 minutes.
Same here. It's 9:48 a.m. here in Phoenix.
Such a blast being part of this team. I've been hearing two sort of themes today, which really tie together. Hey, Susan. One is in the first part of the conversation, how we've been dealing with adversity, the different ways that people have responded to problems, to challenges, and then beginning with the end in mind, seeing my desired results as if they'd already happened. John, you referred to it as the guaranteed future outcome. There is actually a way, it occurs to me, to tie these things together, tie these two ideas together. And what occurs for me in how to tie them together brings me back to a very, very quick story about something that was done for me years ago by my parents that quite literally changed my life. When I was 10 years old, I got two birthday presents from my parents. One was probably the fanciest thing I had ever seen. It was a a leather-bound, tissue-papered, gold leaf-edged version of the King James Bible with my name embossed in gold leaf on the front. I'm telling you, I was the richest kid in Brooklyn at that time. Yeah, you heard that right, Stuart. Brooklyn. Let's talk.
In the house, baby, in the house.
The other gift they gave me was a book. It was by a man I'd never heard of, named Charles T. Jones. The book's called Life is Tremendous. I just dropped the link in the chat, so if you want to go and grab that. I read this book and it blew my little 10-year-old mind because it let me know that there was a way of thinking and a way of reacting in the world that I had never heard of. And that was, I have the opportunity at any moment to choose how I will respond to problems, to challenges, to tough times in my life. I'm going to ask for a quick poll here. Think back to some major issue you've shared so powerfully, and Mark today, what that one of those down moments in your life. Every last one of us on this call has had one. Yes? Yes. Now, in my case, I have always known, even when I wasn't allowing myself to be very aware of this, I've always known that at the moment I realized that there was a problem, at the moment I realized that I was facing something very big and possibly very difficult, there's a moment where I have the opportunity to choose my attitude, to choose how I'm going to respond. People react, oh, you pissed me off. No, I didn't. Something happened and you chose the emotion of anger. Everybody know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So that at that moment, this book taught me that the winning response to problems is literally, woohoo! Yeah! I got a problem, baby! Let's go! Because it shifts my state, it shifts our mindset to realize and know in that moment, this isn't a problem. This isn't a setback. This is an opportunity to win. This is an opportunity to learn and to grow and to win. And now somebody, I guarantee you, somebody on this call is thinking, well, that's weird, man. I mean, what are my friends? Well, who cares what your friends think? Who cares about somebody else's opinion? This is your life, right? This is our life. And in that moment, I'm excited about, I can choose to be excited about the appearance of this challenge. Why? Because I have the picture in my head of where I want to be. In my sacred book, the Bible, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So the minute the problem shows up, I am immediately thrown into my vision of where I am going. And because of that, now I have the opportunity to respond to this problem with excitement, because I know that is going to get me to my goal that much faster than the easy road, the soft sand, which is harder to, making sense. So problem shows up, woohoo! It's an opportunity to create an experience, a quantum leap forward toward my goal. And so please receive this suggestion from me. Get this book. It's very short. It's got a lot of cute cartoons in it. Life is Tremendous by Charles T. Jones. Done. Back to you, John.
There you go. In fact, here it is. There it is, baby. Yeah, it's like 80 pages.
Yep.
It's so people are saying, oh, Science of Getting Rich is only like 120 pages. Well, this one's even smaller. You read it in an afternoon. Life is tremendous. Charlie Tremendous Jones. That's a classic.
Yep.
Good stuff, you guys. We are coming towards the top of the hour. Burning Desires. I see Cyril. Cyril, you have a comment you'd like to offer or a question? Cyril?
Hi. Just a short one. Glenn just reminded me of something that I've been using a long time. I studied music and jazz quite a while ago because I've been a jazz lover since I was a child, listening to all my dad's jazz records. And there's something I learned when studying jazz is that one of the best ways to create, or rather, I'll put it another way. Often the blank page becomes a hole you fall into and can't get out of, and it's very difficult to create in. However, another way to look at it is if you confine your perspective, it actually creates more possibilities and opportunity to see creatively. One of the ways that it was put to me was that when you look at a blank page, you're looking at a white wall, so to speak. But if you look down a microscope, the further you look down, the bigger you see the world is underneath. And that viewpoint, therefore, even though you've confined your viewpoint, you've actually increased your possibilities because you can see more possibilities beneath where you thought there was nothing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well said, Cyril. Thank you for sharing, my friend. What a meeting today. What a session. My friends, I am so glad to be here with you all. Of course, tomorrow's Fun Friday. And I was seeing in the chat that we have some known members and allies who have not found their way into this room. So any of you who would like to correct that, let's go ahead and help some people find their way into this conversation. We've got a lot to talk about here. We're just getting started. Tomorrow, of course, bring a dog or a cat or a frog or a rat and a joke. We got to tell a joke tomorrow. Somebody bring a joke. Yep. In the meantime, good to see you, Kitty. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for today. I know the after session is starting in just a couple minutes, so you guys enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good one.
Bye, John.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much.